All right, Allison. Welcome to Coach Training Day 1. I'm very excited to have you here, and I'm very excited to go through all the training that gets us to becoming an Orange Theory coach. And I'm hoping you're just as excited as I am.
Oh my God, super excited.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You went through all of your OU modules, and we just touched base on the lobby intro. Now we're going to touch base on the warm-up and how we get our members moving in the room.
Perfect.
I know you're an avid runner,
Yes.
just like myself.
Yep.
So before you start your run, what are some things that you like to do before you go for your long-distance run?
Listen, my body is older. I like to make sure I can get things moving before I go on that run. So I definitely do like a dynamic warm-up. I do some stretches. I do like some heel kicks. I do some high knees just to kind of get everything ready to go. I definitely don't want to be going in with cold muscles into a run.
Absolutely. What are some of the reasons why you don't want to go to those runs with cold muscles?
Definitely more prone to injury for sure.
Exactly.
And it just sucks. So.
It does, and it takes a long time sometimes for
It does.
those of us that might be a little older to get on into our run the way we want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Think of the warm-up in Orange Theory the same way.
Yep.
Most of our members are coming from a very stationary position.
Yep.
I know a lot of the people that you've seen in classes as you've been taking classes
Yep.
have talked to you about what they do for work, and a lot of them stand or sit.
Yep.
So our warm-up is basically the exact same thing in how you warm yourself up, but now we're in our class situation.
Yep.
As we go through our warm-up today, here's how it's going to look for our lesson. We want to make sure that we're stating all the ways that we get members warmed up on both the rowers and the treadmills,
Okay.
the why behind it, why it's important, like we just kind of highlighted,
Yep.
as well as explaining the timing that goes along with it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Do you have any questions before we get started?
I don't think so. I'm a little nervous to be timed, but I don't think so. I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
You've done great in going through your modules now. Think of
Okay.
this as more of a review.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So in our warm-up, after we go through our lobby intro,
Yep.
what's the first thing we want to get our members set up on?
On the treads.
On the treads.
Yep, they're coming in, they're starting on the treads.
Perfect. So we'll start with the treadmills. We're not thinking time yet.
Okay.
We're starting on the treadmills. So we get the treadmills moving. Now when we get the treadmills moving, do we get them right to base? Do we get them walking? We just have them stand there?
Walking warm up for
Walking
sure.
warm up.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Do you remember the parameters for the walking warm up?
Yep, 1% incline, 3 for speed, 3 miles an hour for speed.
Now why would it be more beneficial for our members to start with a walk rather than get right to a run?
Oh, well, for all the reasons that we already talked about, I wouldn't want to start running right away, so definitely walking first.
There you go.
Yep.
Walking warm up.
Yep.
Now for those members that aren't on the treadmill, where do they go instead?
The rowers.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Now when we get the rower set up on the rower, how do we get them set up on the rower first? Do we get them straight moving quickly, or do we have them adjust something?
No, we definitely have to get them to adjust the foot plates, so the strap goes across the widest part of their foot. Then they're gonna grab that handle at the widest part with their palms down and thumbs under. And then I think that we should focus on telling them about that nice strong leg drive first.
Mhm.
That's what I would think. And then they lean with their core, and then they pull with their arms. And
Awesome.
then returning to the tank.
Awesome. What's your favorite spot to start for your warm up?
I start on the tread.
There it is.
Yeah.
As we go through our timing of the first half of class, we've
Yep.
done our treads, we've done our rowers. What's the next step we want to get members set up with?
So they're on their treads, they're on their rowers, then we come back to the treads and get them to base.
Correct. Come back to the treadmills and our volley. For our base parameters, power walkers, joggers, and runners, do we remember the specific numbers we utilize for our base?
Of course I do, I'm like an A+ student, so 3.5 to 4.5 for power walkers, 4.5 to 5.5 for joggers,
Yep.
and then 5.5 or greater for runners. But I also like to talk about the feeling, so it's
Ooh.
challenging but doable in your base.
Love it, love it. So why do we give the specific numbers behind the parameters? Why can't it just be something outside of that?
I would think because maybe some people could be new to a tread and they don't do workouts on the tread often. They're brand new to here, brand new to fitness in general, and they might not know where to start. And sometimes they think they're being challenged, but we just gotta like nudge them a little bit more.
Absolutely. Think of those as great guidelines to start. You can always venture outside the box, but we like to give people some guidelines as they're starting, or especially if they're newer members.
Yep.
After we get the treadmills to base,
Yep.
what's the immediate thing that happens after we say their parameters?
After base, I'm thinking, well, Well, it depends on where we are in timing. So treads are in base. We could come back to the rowers.
Do we?
We do come back to the rowers, yes.
Okay.
If it's time to move to the floor, we would have the rowers wrap their handles and then come meet us over on the floor. If there's not, if it's not quite time, you throw in a little story or two.
Perfect. So when we come back to the rowers, we've gotten the treads to base, and now we get the rowers to base. Why is it important that we get our rowers
Oh yeah,
to
I didn't
base
get
as
the
well?
rowers to base.
Well, that's okay. I'm
Rowers
filling your
to
blanks
base.
here.
They were basing already. What was your question? I'm sorry.
So when we get them to base,
Yep.
why not give them specific parameters on the rower?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably going more maybe with a feeling, and they're, the feeling that they're working, they're moving their bodies, because they're gonna be transitioning to the floor, so maybe not so much of a focus on the rower.
Absolutely. So what would be something in this room or something along this area of the room that we could use to help members find when they're getting to base?
They're either their tablet in front of them or up on the screen, and we tell them to work towards like the green zone.
Perfect.
Get their heart rates there.
Why do we use the green zone mostly as our measurement? Why not orange? Why not red?
Well,
Why
no,
green?
you definitely don't want to be in the orange yet, because the green is like you're just starting to work. You're just starting to increase your heart rate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's say we finish all of this and we have some extra time. What would be something that you'd like to give members more of during that same time period? Just like we saw in OU.
Yep.
If you had some extra time after this, what would be exactly something you'd want to tell them about during your class?
You could focus on, what the movements on the rower are, what they're working, like they're working 80% of the muscles in their body on the rowers, and the importance and its low impact. So you could fill in with things like that, why it's important to get to base and, starting to walk and get to a base on the treads, just so they're not getting right in. So we can do that education piece.
Perfect. And that's a great point, because everything we said in the lobby is our little teaser. It's our little piece of information that we want to hone into.
Yep.
And then carry that in here. Anything that we can give, I know specific days that we have, 2,000 meter benchmark row is one of my favorite times, that's where we can plug in some added numbers or some added feedback to the members as to how they'll be successful for the day. If you have extra time for the treadmills, it's the exact same focus. Now when we're timing this out, how long should it take us to get through all pieces of our volley before we take the rowers to the floor? Do you remember?
2 minutes and 15 seconds.
2 minutes and 15 seconds?
Yes.
Perfect. And then what would that extra time be? Exactly when we want to get the rowers to the floor? So if we had 2:15, we finish?
Yep.
We have 45 seconds of our filler,
Yep.
and then we take the rowers to the floor at what time?
At 3
Perfect.
minutes.
Perfect. Now,
Oh, rowers to base, that's right.
that's okay.
Gosh, all
I
right.
got you.
Thank you.
So now when we're timing this, 2:15 is about when we finish rowers to base.
Yep.
As we're going through all of these pieces, remember to change your vocal tones the exact same way we'd be talking and having a conversation with people.
Yes.
So when you're getting members to their walking warm-up, to their base, think that you want to have somewhat of a different, I don't want to say sound to your voice, but have a little bit, our bass should sound something that's strong, but we're not screaming at the members in the mic.
Yep.
As we finish up and head the members to the floor, explaining to the treadmills, I'll be back in a moment to get you set up for block number 1 before we proceed.
Yep.
Now we're going to do a quick Simon Says.
Okay.
So I'm going to have you stand up.
Okay.
Stand up. So we're going to drop it down to a squat. Okay? Now, I'm going to ask you, hands off your knees. I'm going to ask you one of these 4, one of these 4. And as I ask you one, you're going to give me back about the time it takes for us. So we have timings here, here, and here. So this happens at a certain time, this happens at a certain time. I guess you can just hold that squat for the whole time.
Oh, good. Okay.
So this happens at a certain time, this happens at a certain time, this happens at a certain time, and this happens at a certain time.
Okay.
You're going to hold the squat. If the answer is right, you can stand up and shake out your legs. If the answer is wrong, you're going to stay right there, and I'm going to ask you another question.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so you ready?
Okay.
So we're going to drop into our squat.
Okay.
Ready? And we're going to hold that squat.
Okay.
It's going to burn it into the memory.
It sure is.
Figuratively and literally. About how much time? So we have from 0, 0, 0 until when to get the treads to their walking warm up?
1 minute.
1 minute.
Yes.
We're looking for 30 seconds. From 0, 0, 0 to 30.
Wait a minute.
So full death squat.
Oh,
From 30 seconds to when? You just said it.
minute.
There we go.
A
To get
minute.
the rowers. 30 seconds to a minute. Now you can stand up. Catch
Oh.
your breath. Shake them out. We're gonna go back again.
Okay.
Well, we're narrowing down. So we have our minute, and then we have till 2:15. So now we kind of know what comes up next.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So our rower setup. We've done that in a minute. Treadmill base happens when?
Oh,
1 minute to
darn it.
when?
1 minute to no 1
Good.
minute. Then,
I got a squat.
oh, the treads get to the treads get to base at 1 minute.
At 1 minute.
Yeah.
We got about how much time?
To,
Minute what?
30.
There we go.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
the rowers to base happens from when to when?
The minute 30 to 2:15.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Process of elimination. See, now you remember it.
No.
Now you'll remember it.
Wow, that was a good little
Okay.
technique there.
So in conclusion,
Yeah.
why do we warm up?
So you could do that. you don't want to be working with cold muscles. You're more prone to injury that way, and you're just not going to move as well.
Correct. Now that we know why we want to warm up, the pattern we go through is what?
How do we go? The volley.
The volley,
Yep.
which starts with what?
Treads.
Perfect. And then goes where?
Rowers.
Back to where?
Treads.
Back to where?
Rowers.
Bingo, and then goes where?
To the floor.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're getting on mic and we're gonna practice it a couple
Okay.
different times. And as we go through that, we'll give criticism or we'll give critique so that we can help get this nice and smooth before we start tackling the order on the weight floor for our demo.
Okay.
Any questions?
Are there any more squats involved?
There are no more squats.
Okay, good. Then I'm
Nice job,
good.
Allison. Nice job.
Thank you.